Welcome to Investor's Guide. We have a different episode planned out for you this week. I'm with Parag Parikh, a maverick investor, a value investor, someone who's been tracking our market for decades, and of course the chairman of Parag Parikh Financial Advisory Services. Parag, thank you so much for joining us on the show. I'm particularly glad that we're talking at a time like this, when investors are thinking about coming back into the market. And why wouldn't they? Because we've had analysts predict that we're at the beginning of what might be India's largest ever bull run. Now, as someone who's been watching this market for decades and who's been swimming against the tide, first tell me if you agree that we're at the beginning of the biggest bull run ever?
Yeah, we are definitely at the beginning of good times. We've got a leadership where people have put their faith in it, and that's why Mr. Narendra Modi has become the Prime Minister. There's a lot of hope in it, but you have to also see that he has inherited an economy which is quite in shambles. Decision making has stopped. So expecting him to have a magic wand is expecting too much. So we will have a bright future, but no bright future comes without a pain. And I think we will have to go through the pains and give our leader the chance to make a better tomorrow for all of us.
Well, if you look at the market right now, and you're right in the sense that the fundamentals haven't changed, it's largely sentiment at this point. So how should we as retail investors be reading this market? Is it only sentiment? Is it time to get in? Is it going to run up further? What would you advise us to do?
See, first is I would ask the retail investors, ask yourself whether you are an investor or a punter who has just entered because the markets are good. Had the retail investor been a good long-term investor, he would have bought it last year. When stocks were available very cheap, nobody was buying. But today, because the sentiment has changed, everyone wants to come in here to make a fast buck. So if the retail investor is trying to do that, you are going to be paying excessive money for the stocks you buy. So it's not that values will not be available, but just getting into the market because everyone is getting in, just because of the herd mentality, then you are bound to be a loser. Secondly, as an investor, as a retail investor, you have to consider that investing is a game of patience. You have to follow the law of the farm. You cannot sow something today and reap tomorrow. A seed which has been sown has to go through different seasons over a period of time before it turns into a fully grown tree. Similar is the case with investments.